From the risks to the rewards, you'll see it all as the best and worst show us their stuff. Join us as we take you from the beginning to the future of motorcycling. It's all here next on the Superchargers.
The Superchargers, National Championship and Unique Motorsports.
The Superchargers is sponsored by your neighborhood True Value hardware stores. We've got what it takes.
Well, I'm Gabriel, and welcome once again to the Superchargers. Did you know that there are close to 5.5 million people who own motorcycles in this country? Well, it's true. People of all ages. And because riding a motorcycle can be dangerous, there are certain safety rules that always need to be followed, such as wearing a helmet like this one. But if motorcycles can be dangerous riding on the highway, they're even more dangerous riding on the track. Being a champion motorcycle racer is the most physically demanding job in motorsports. Riders have to be in top shape just to hang on and control their high-speed machines. Today, we're going to take you to some popular motorcycle events to see hill climbs, speedway racing, flat tracking, and teeth-rattling motocross. But before we do that, let's go back, all the way back to Germany over 100 years ago to meet Gottlieb Daimler, the man who invented the very first motorcycle. German inventor Gottlieb Daimler invented the motorcycle in 1885. His achievement was not a singular act of genius, but a combination of events that occurred in just the right order. He contributed not only to the birth of the motorcycle, but to the automobile and airplane as well. This great effort began back in 1882 with his experiments on a gasoline-powered four-cycle engine that Daimler hoped would develop into a device strong enough to power a horseless carriage. But after 2 years of trial and error, the half-horsepower 264cc engine he came up with just wasn't strong enough to do the job. So Daimler and his chief engineer, Wilhelm Maybach, devised a cradle frame of wood and iron to carry the engine, which protruded out beyond the frame and was surmounted by a high leather seat. It was steered by a tiller arrangement with a simple fork. It would go down in history as the very first motorcycle. Power was transmitted by a belt from one pulley wheel to another, and finally to the rear wheel. The wheels themselves were wooden spoke affairs, and the tires, if you could call them that, consisted of heavy iron bands that were shrunk to fit. It certainly was a strange-looking contraption, and almost impossible to ride. On November 10th, 1885, Daimler, his teenage son Paul, and Maybach wheeled the machine out of his workshop in a suburb near Stuttgart, Germany, and fired it up. Young Paul climbed aboard, operated the lever that tightened the belt drive, and set the machine in motion. It must have been a rough ride and very noisy. The primitive engine shook violently, and on the way back, it overheated, setting the seat on fire, which was a hot start for a fast machine that has attracted a lot of controversy in the last 100 years. Despite this potentially dangerous mishap, Paul Daimler actually succeeded in riding a distance of 12 kilometers, or about 7.5 miles, making him the world's first motorcyclist. If Gottlieb Daimler could only see the advancements that have been made on his invention of 100 years ago, he'd truly be amazed. The latest high-tech innovations in motorcycles are remarkable, and the durability is beyond belief. Just ask anyone who owns a motocross bike. They're made strong enough to run on a course that is so bumpy, it puts most automobile torture tests to shame. You can jump on them, twist them, kick them, shift gears 6 times in a lap. You can abuse them in any way possible, and these bikes can handle it. To prove my point, let's take a look at an AMA-sanctioned National Championship motocross event. Indoor stadiums like the Houston Astrodome offer an ideal setting for an AMA-sanctioned supercross event. The motocross motorcycle is a little unusual, to say the least. There's 12 inches of travel on the front and rear tires, plus the power-to-weight ratio of these bikes is 4 times greater than you'll find in the average automobile. Tough supercross courses like this one include plenty of hairpin turns, whoop-de-doos, and rockers. They're designed to give maximum challenge to the rider and plenty of excitement to the spectator. The start of a motocross race is always exciting, as 21 riders across all try to funnel down into a narrow raceway. When the gates drop, it's a jam session